Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Lawrence Phillip, aka DJ Random, and today we're going to be talking about whether we need to take music production courses, let it be online or enrolling at some local school, or are you better off just by learning everything on YouTube because YouTube is free, right? So, why should you be paying to learn to produce music? I'm a teacher, so you probably assume that I would suggest that, like, yes, you should be taking classes or courses. But in reality, though, it actually all depends on you yourself. I mean, only you can decide because both of them have its plus and minuses. Learning it yourself on YouTube has a lot of benefit, but of course, there's a downside to it. And it's the same thing with taking a course. There are a lot of plus, but there are a lot of downside to it too. So let's just begin by why you don't need to take a course. Instead, just learn everything on YouTube. Number one, of course, it's free. I mean, that's one of the greatest thing about like living in this time. There are so much information and they're like readily accessible. I mean, anybody with an internet connection can actually access it. So basically, it's almost mind-boggling to me when there are people that still ask me on my Facebook, "Hey man, can you like show me how to use Ableton, or can you show me how to use a Serum, or can you show me how to use Massive?" Because I'm always thinking, come on, man, if you just wants to know how to do that, there's so many information available in YouTube. So why you should be asking people? So yeah, so that's the first positive thing about YouTube. Okay, it's free, it's available anywhere, anytime you need it, and of course, there's literally information and tutorial on how to make any sound you can think of over there. You think you want to make like certain sound for, like, let's say, oh, I want to make chords that sounds like Dead Mouse, or I want to make bass line that sounds like Jaws, or I want to make like a neurofunk bass line like Noisia. Just type that up on YouTube and you'll find one. So now and then probably you're gonna come back with the question, so if you already say that, why should we even bother with enrolling? So that's gonna get to my next point about what is my beef with learning on YouTube. Okay, one of my biggest beef with learning on YouTube is many of the tutorial don't exactly show you how, especially when it comes to sound design. A lot of the tutorial don't actually give you like the basic knowledge of how to use a synthesizer, or like how synthesizer work. And most of them are just telling you to like just do exactly what they're doing. They're just saying, okay, let's make Noisia bassline. So this is what you do. You select this wave table and then you move it certain point, and then you move it here, and then you put a filter, and then you do an envelope, and then you assign it to this filter, etc., etc., etc. But they never tell you why you should do it like that and what's the reason behind it. So in a sense, yes, you'll be able to make like certain sound, but the problem is you don't understand how it works. If you're a complete novice and you have no idea about synthesizing. And the problem with that is, like, yes, you can make something cool, but without that guide from that tutorial, you won't be able to make anything. That's my big beef with YouTube. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but that kind of limits your ability to design sound, because if you don't really know what is certain parameter doing or the reasoning why you're routing so and so to, like, let's say you're routing the envelope into the amp, or why you want to route the LFO to the pitch and things like that. If you don't know the basic concept of synthesizing, learning it is a lot harder. That's one of the big beef that I have with learning on YouTube. And this is not just synthesizing. Let's say we're talking about producing track on Ableton. Many people just assume that people knows how to use Ableton. So it's just like this, and then like this, and they're going through it so fast that, it requires all the viewers to just constantly pausing and then copying it, and then pause and copy what he does, pause and then copy what he does, and you're not learning anything from doing that. You're just copying things. But on the other hand, though, if you're self-motivated and you're very good with like readings, then learning up front on YouTube is awesome. Let's talk a little bit about my background. Like, I started producing music in like 1998. That was kind of like in the beginning of software. So I started with using a software called Acid, and back in 1998 there is no YouTube, so I just kind of have to learn everything on my own. there are a lot of trial and error. Computer Music Magazine, that was like basically the Bible at the time, and I was only like in like issue number 10 or something like that. So it was really basic. And at the end of the day, though, I managed to figure out how to make a song. I mean, I had a release. My first release, it was in the year 2000, and I thought that was like, I was like the shit. And I was like, shit, man. I had a track released on vinyl, which is like, I felt so accomplished. Even though if I listen to it right now, oh my god, that was sounds so terrible. The mixing was so bad. But the thing is, like, at the time, most of us as a producer, didn't know what we're doing. You know. So I mean, like, you guys are lucky, living in this time where like all this information are available on your fingertips. So now let's talk about taking an online course. Like for an example, what's the benefit of learning on courses like SAE is everything is structured. You will learn everything from step by step. Like, let's say you're taking the electronic music production courses, which that's about 5 months long. You will start with learning the beginning part of Ableton. By the end of the course, you should be very, very comfortable using Ableton. And you should know it inside out. So that's with Ableton. And then on top of that, we're gonna get into synthesizing. In the synthesizing, I will give you like the rundown on like how synthesizing works. I will give you a lot of exercise from creating something simple to creating a whole song using synthesizer. I will show you step by step how synthesizer works. From that, you will understand why people do this, why you do that. You understand there is a reason behind all of that. And the benefit of if you understand how that works, is you watch a YouTube and then you go, I want to create Noisia type of neurofunk bass. So you just go online, watch a tutorial. You probably need to watch it maybe once. You don't even have to stop and pause because you understand how it works. You just have to look at it and then you say, oh, okay, I get it. You might not even have to watch the whole thing. And you can just stop, put it away, and you can at least create that sound. The biggest problem when you have to create sound is just like how to begin. That's always the hardest thing. It's like, what kind of wavetable do I use? That's always like the hardest part. But if you do understand how the synthesizing works, and then the rest is just easy. So that's the benefit of taking courses because you understand the fundamental. You understand how things works because the program is structured that way. So this is really perfect for you who's not, you're not really into reading because everything is laid out for you. And then of course the other benefit is you usually learn with professionals. So instead of doing like the trial and error, if you're taking courses and then you have a instructor, you can ask them and they'll point you to the right direction. You learn everything in a lot more efficient when it comes to time. So that's another benefit when you're taking courses. But of course there's the downside to it is they could get pretty expensive. At the end of the day though, now let's go back to the beginning of the question. Should we just don't bother with taking any courses and just learn from YouTube? Or should we actually take courses? The only person that can answer that is you. Do you need it or not? I experienced learning everything on my own. I never regret that because I thought I'll learn a lot from just trial and error. I wish though I was born like a little later, so we have YouTube, so my progress would have been a lot faster, because in the late 90s, that's unheard of to have kids like Madion who like breaks out at like 16 years old because number one is it's not that accessible. Even a half decent laptop costs at least $3,000 and that can barely run anything, so it's basically music production at the time was not as accessible as right now. So it's literally unheard of to have like a 16-year-old whiz kid because there's no internet and just the learning curve was just a lot longer. So yeah, learning on your own is a good thing, but if you do have the resource, learning it by taking courses online, you can be enrolled on something like Point Blank. Point Blank is an online courses. They have a campus in London and LA, and there is also online courses. And the online courses is pretty cool because it can be like pretty specific. Like, oh, I just want to learn to make certain kind of music, and they have that available. You can just pick what you need. Or Dubspot is another one. This is an American-based one, which is pretty good. They have a online too. If you're like in Indonesia or other country, I mean, like SAE is actually, I think they have this their campus is available like at all these countries. In conclusion, just decide whether you need it or not, guys, because if you're the type that are highly motivated, likes to learn, likes to read, and very disciplined, then just go ahead, stick with learning online on YouTube. At the end of the day, learning is learning. It should be fine. But if you're the type who's kind of like not really into reading and you're having problem with time management and discipline, etc., then course is probably better for you. There you have it, guys. There is no which one is better or which one is worse. Both of them are good choices. So it's up to you guys, okay? If you find this video to be helpful, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.